Students often start the school day at a very early hour, where depending on the mode of transportation, these times will vary to be earlier or later than approximately 6 a.m. Depending on how much time the student has to get ready, they often choose to skip breakfast, which is a vital component in kickstarting the metabolism process. Basing on an average 6-hour school day beginning at 8 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m., the student must leave their home at an early enough time in order to make it to school on time. After school, there are various extracurricular activities and sports that take place, such as practices, games, volunteer work, clubs, or meetings, but they can often take up to 2 to 3 hours. When the student arrives home, they only have about 5 hours to eat dinner, work a part time job, spend time with family, get their physical activity, as well as complete schoolwork or studying, while still getting the recommended amount of sleep each night, not including the procrastination every teenager is notorious for. Crazy, right? But to do this process every single day and to be having countless amount of schoolwork to do along with extracurricular activities, when do students find the time to get physical activity and that they can help better their mental and physical health, or have a part time job, or spend time with family and friends? All the high school life, best 4 years of your life, as some may say, filled with sports, extracurricular activities, and friends, the high school experience is one to remember. Well, that is if you have time to balance everything. In order to get a better understanding of how physically active they are, what their classes are like, and how many hours a week they spend completing homework and assignments, we interviewed various senior level students.
Maybe.
How many hours of physical activity do you usually get on an average week, and what do you do as physical activity?
I actually don't really get that much physical activity anymore, but normally I would play sports or I would go for runs.
And what classes do you have this semester?
I have history, I have healthcare, kinesiology, and English.
And how many hours a week do you usually spend studying, completing assignments, doing homework?
Quite a lot. I don't know. Like a lot of hours.
Do you have physical activity?
4, and I work out as well.
Okay, how many hours a week do you usually spend studying, completing assignments, doing homework?
10-ish, give or take.
And what classes do you have this semester?
I have business, English, and yearbook.
Okay, semester?
I have chemistry, math, anthro, psych, soc, and English.
And how many hours a week do you usually spend like studying, completing assignments, doing homework, stuff like that?
All the hours.
Okay, I heard.
All the hours.
How many hours of physical activity do you usually get on an average week? And what do you do as physical activity?
Within a week? Okay, well, it depends on the season, because if it's during football, I'll get like, I don't know, 2 a day, which is like, what, 10? Yeah, 10 hours. But then sometimes, like now, when it's like exam season and stuff, it's like 2 or 3 or something like that. Not as much.
Okay, and what classes do you have this semester?
Spare, world cultures, physics, and calculus.
And how many hours a week do you usually spend like studying, completing assignments, doing homework?
A week? I don't know, it's kind of tough because like we have to balance between like work and jobs and getting the right amount of sleep and stuff. Usually getting your assignments done cuts in your sleeping time, which makes you more tired and stuff. So for homework, I don't know, a week, probably maybe like 5, so not that much.
Since we have now got a better understanding of what classes are like for senior level students, we went on to ask them about how they actually balance those classes with working a part-time job, or if the workload often interferes with getting in a physical activity or eating healthy. When you have a lot of schoolwork, that day do you usually neglect eating healthy, getting physical activity, or getting enough sleep?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, always.
Yeah, because you gotta work, so.
Since so many students are neglecting getting physical activity or eating healthy when they have tests to study for or assignments to complete, they are not able to release the stress school brings, and thus can have an impact on their mental and physical health, with things such as depression, anxiety, stress, as well as weight gain and cardiovascular activity.
Do you think that students are more likely to skip or neglect physical education class when they have other school work, test, assignments to worry about?
Yes, absolutely. I'm asked repeatedly if I would mind if students sat out from participating because they have an important test to study for. And I know I had students yesterday miss their morning phys ed class because they had a science test to study for in grade 10.
What effects can that cause for the student?
Well, studies show that students actually academically achieve better if they are physically active within an hour or so before a test or even before a lesson. They learn better, their focus is better, their attention is better. Math results are higher when you exercise immediately before writing the test. So their actual results could be worse by skipping a class, It's also teaching students that balance is not important, that prioritizing is not important. Everybody has busy lives, but you need to learn how to balance things, and you need to learn how to be organized so that you can designate time to do what you are responsible for, and attending all of your classes is something that you're responsible for.
During physical activity, endorphins are released in the brain, which trigger positive feelings similar to that of morphine. In order to decrease the amount of stress students usually have due to the amount of assignments, homework, and tests to study for, they are encouraged to take a physical education course. With the phys ed course, students are able to relieve stress from other classes by participating in games and other fun activities that will not only improve their physical but mental health as well.
Why do you think it's important that students take a physical education course?
I think it's important for their physical health as well as their mental health. Taking phys ed gives them a chance to get up, get out of a desk, be active, exercise their body, exercise their brain, relieve stress, increase feel-good hormones that get released anytime you're active. And it also gives them an opportunity to interact with classmates on a bit of a different level than they would in a traditional classroom. And traditionally, the homework load is a little bit less than you would get, say, in a grade 12 science physics class.
Since fast food places are in such close distance to the school, students are often tempted to go out for lunch and eat unhealthy foods rather than bring a homemade lunch.
Tourism.
How many times a week do you usually eat out for lunch?
Every single day.
What are the common places that you usually go out for lunch?
Tim Hortons.
Pretty much every day.
And what are the common places you go out to eat for lunch?
Like mostly Tim's.
3 times? And where are the common places you go? Tim Hortons.
Since so many people were saying that Tim Hortons was the common place they go out to eat for lunch, we decided to go there ourselves and see just how many students often go there to eat. The results we found of long lineups out the door only to order was astonishing. Students go out to eat in these fast food places almost every single day. There is not only physical but mental health as well. This is where the importance of sleep comes in, and we all know that teenagers are notorious for not getting enough sleep. But what about students who have countless amount of assignments to complete and tests to study for, all after finishing a long shift at a part-time job?
Because sometimes when I work really late, like I don't have time to eat probably, so I just make something there and I work in a fast food place. Or like I'll get home late, so I won't have time to like study or anything like that, so I don't do really well if I have a test the next day.
How does working a part-time job affect your schoolwork, studying, etc.?
Well, I work usually like 15 hours a week or so, and I always work like afternoons after school. So if I have a lot of work but I'm working that day, like I'll be up literally till like midnight every single night trying to get it done just because I don't have any time.
Yeah, I work around the same amount, and when it cuts into my schoolwork, makes me have to stay up really late and stuff like that.
How does working a part-time job affect your diet?
Sometimes I don't eat when I'm at work, and then after work, like on my way home, I'll just get like fast food or something because I'm too tired to actually make anything when I get home.
Yeah, I skip a lot of meals and don't eat right, eat a lot of microwavable stuff and not very healthy things.
Did you feel as though you needed to get a part-time job in order to pay for expenses, future education, etc.?
Yes.
Statistics show that the amount of sleep adolescents are required to get in order to function at optimal level is between 8 to 9 hours. There are countless amount of health benefits to getting the sufficient amount of sleep each night, including improvements of concentration, focus, memory, and thought process, as well as the immune system and cardiovascular activity. Serotonin is a chemical found in the human body that is responsible for maintaining mood balance, and thus a deficit of it can lead to depression. Stress, anxiety, and insomnia are all things that can decrease serotonin levels in the brain. So with this information, we went on to interview the same individuals as before who admitted to doing countless amount of schoolwork each day and asked how many hours of sleep they usually receive on an average night. How many hours of sleep do you usually get on an average night?
5 or 6.
4.
7 to 6.
Around 6 probably. About 6 or 7 on weekdays.
Like 6 or 7 maybe.
The information we have received from students is shocking, where every student interviewed admitted to getting below the recommended amount of sleep. Not only are students unable to get enough sleep due to the amount of schoolwork,
but other factors such as family troubles as well as anxiety and stress from other things such as extracurricular activities, post-secondary education, and part-time jobs may also play a major role in insomnia.
Learn. I struggle with stress, and the pressure on having the best grades is always present.
With stress and anxiety, students neglect things that make them happy or relieve some of the tension and stress. Activities such as hanging out with friends or getting physical activity release feel-good hormones in the brain and essentially help in reducing the amount of tension and stress the brain experiences. This endless cycle that involves the decrease of serotonin in the brain due to countless amounts of factors, including the stress of school and work, raises concerns about the mental health of students. This all cycles back to the amount of serotonin in the brain. With a decrease in serotonin due to the lack of sleep because of schoolwork as well as other factors, it raises the amount of stress, anxiety, and depression students experience, which brings up a concern about their mental health. With the data that we have received from current students, teachers, and statistics, we have concluded that high school students do not acquire the accurate amount of physical activity and have bad eating habits due to the struggles and pressures of school. A major concern that we have discovered by many students is the fight to stress eating. By the stress of school, grabbing a bag of chips may be easier at the time, but in the long run, making better eating choices will benefit a healthy lifestyle. Overall, healthy ways of living are crucial to students' lives and should be made a priority to benefit them both now and in the future.